Shalom, all praises to Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi, bahasham, Kwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well, and labor in the word and doctrine. Shalom and in peace. May that be unto the elect of the nation of Israel. Alright, so we're going to get into this. I don't know where I'm going to go with it, so we shall see. So anyway, Acts 17, starting at 16, says, Now while Paul waited for them at Athens, and this is the chapter that talks about the church of Berea being more noble than those in Thessalonica, and then Greek women and men, and not a few, believed. That's what it says. So this is going to a lot of Acts. Well, obviously, Acts the 10th chapter is famous and again so-called controversial for a lot of people. But it's the truth. It's the truth that Cornelius believed. And he was an Israelite. Okay. So Acts 17 and 16. Now, while Paul waited for them at Athens, which is in where? Now, really, at this point, we can get into the blue letter. So let's just do that. Right, Acts 17, 16. Let's look up Athens. We should have heard of Athens at some point, and not necessarily biblically, but I'm talking about on a secular level. Yeah, this is one of the historic cities that's exalted on a high level. It says Atheni. Listen to him say, I can't say.
Strong's G116, Atheni.
Atheni. It says Athens uncertainty, a famous city in Greece, the capital of Attica, and the chief seat of learning and civilization during the golden period of the history of Greece. Right, so going back to the Hellenic history, which again links into these scriptures, talking about Jews and Greeks. Athens is one of them. It's held in high regard. Anyone that wants to know about anyone that knows about Greece and goes there and is all about sightseeing, Athens is probably on their list. Alright, but Paul was there. So that's why it's great for us, or a reason. So it's not like we're going to go, oh, Athens, man. But the great history, how the Greeks have it on the left hand. Well, we have great history. Apostle Paul was there preaching the gospel. So Acts 17 and 16. Now, while Paul waited for them at Athens, his spirit was stirred in him when he saw the city wholly given to idolatry. Now, when we read about the nations, they get down with that. And it was set up like that. Psalm 96 and 5, for all the gods of the nations are idols, but Yahawah made the heavens. And how did he make it? Through his son. Let me search it up. What's that? It might even be a psalm. Oh, I'm in Psalms. At 33 and 6. So Psalm 33 and 6. So it's by the word of Yahawah were the heavens made, and all the hosts of them by the breath of his mouth. When we go into Revelation 19:13, it says, and he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the word of Yahawah. Right, and that's talking about Yahawashi. So the Lord made the heavens, but all these idols that didn't get reverence, get worship from the other nations, and then through that, wicked jakes join unto it and join in with it. It says, now while Paul waited for them at Athens, his spirit was stirred in him when he saw the city wholly given to idolatry. Now, I'll keep reading. It says, therefore he disputed in the synagogue with the Jews and with the devout persons, and in the market daily with them that met with him. Now I want to get into this word devout, because you're not going to get an Edomite that's devout to this truth. It says, saber, to revere, right, to give reverence. That was me adding that in to further clarify that. I'll just read it as it's written. To revere, to worship. It says worship 6 times, devout 3 times, religious once. So you do have left hand and right hand religion. It talks about the Jews' religion in the book of Maccabees. Now, it's not a religion as how we understand it today. But I think that word means bind back. So let's look up that word. I was looking up. Let's have a look. Religion. It says, state of life bound by monastic vows. I'm going to skip that. I'm going to get to where it says, there is. According to this guy, it says to go through again. Again, legare, to read. It says there to bind fast. It says to bind fast. There's one. It talks about binding back to bind fast, to bind back to the customs of your forefathers. And if that is what it means, we are binding back. We're coming back to our heritage, right? Especially, starting with Cornelius, the Israelite strangers, and we're all estranged. There wasn't anyone in 2021 that grew up in 100% of the customs. And you might have had a law unto themselves, and you might have grown up with certain things. When it comes to this Jewry, as it was referred to, Jewry, Jewry, wasn't like 1st century AD. You had Jewry, you had people practicing the customs in the land, and then there was a falling away, and from that point, you've not had Jewry be practiced in that land, and we're not in that land, so we've not grown up in 100%. Dealing with the temple, the physical temple, and we've not had that, so we are the spiritual temple now. But to worship devout, religious, so you had Jews and devout. Now with these devout people, Edomites, with the Elamites, with the Moabites, and look on captions, rewind what I just said, and I guarantee, or most likely, that word Edomite that I just said now is blanked out like a swear word when I'm about to say this. PG warning. Fuck. Right, it's not PG, Salakia. It's more PG-13 or whatever. So that word fuck and that word Edomite, they're both blanked out. But why is the word Edomite blanked out? Now, sometimes it comes up, but most of the time what I've seen, it's blanked out like it's censored, like it's a swear word. So what's that about? Why would YouTube do that? Anyway, Acts 17:17. Therefore disputed he in the synagogue with the Jews and with the devout persons, and in the market daily with them that met with him. Right, so again, daily, going into that word daily, just as Yahawashi was. Let's get this in, I think Matthew. Well, we can get both. Matthew 26:55, in that same hour said Yahawashi to the multitudes, are ye come out as against a thief with swords and staves, for to take me? I sat daily with you teaching in the temple, and you laid no hold on me. Right, Mark 14:49. I was daily with you in the temple teaching, and you took me not, but the scriptures must be fulfilled. So just as Yahawashi taught daily, Paul was in there defending the faith daily, disputed with them. Because a lot of the Jews, as we know, rejected Yahawashi as Hamashiach, just as Paul did before coming into the truth. Such a worthy apostle. Should be alright, let me just search this. There it is. I'm pretty sure I put called apostle. Anyway, well, you just saw it. 1 Corinthians 15:9. For I am the least of the apostles, that I'm not meet to be called an apostle, because I persecuted the church of Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi. Right, so Paul, he was so humble that after all the work he did, he said because of his prior life, he's not even worthy, he's not even meet. I mean, it's not convenient, it's not right for him to be called an apostle. That's how he felt in his spirit. Ultimately, he is an apostle, but that was the humility he showed and the true repentance, the regret he had for his prior decisions and prior. Ultimately, it's all by the Lord, as we know. And that's how we should feel about when we're in the world. There's certain things that you didn't know, but when you know better, you do better. So Acts 17:18. Then certain philosophers of the Epicureans and of the Stoics encountered him, and some said, what will this babbler say? Others some, he seemeth to be a setter forth of strange gods, because he preached unto them Yahawashi and the resurrection. Now when we go into Epicureans That's followers of Epicurus, and in the colloquial meaning, it means devoted to pleasure. They were all about let me get mine while I can, partying up, doing this. I'm just putting it in today's perspectives. Who would be Stoic like, who would be Epicurean like, and Stoic goes into this temple. Sorry, not temple. This hall. It says Stoa Poikile, or Poikile Stoa. Yeah. A Poikile Stoa in the Greek. And hey would be the, I believe. That definite article there. Or painted porch, originally called the Porch of Pisianax, however you say that, was erected during the 5th century BC and was located on the north side of the ancient Agora of Athens. The Stoa Poikile was one of the most famous sites in ancient Athens, owing its fame to the paintings and loot from wars displayed in it. And you can go through all of that. That's the root word of where you get the term Stoic, because the main guy, I can't even remember his name now. Let me just put Stoicism. But the main guy, he taught in that place, so it's sort of named after it. Zeno, right? That was him, Zeno. Let's see if we can find it just saying that. All I'm looking for is him teaching in that place. If I can't see it straight away, might have gone past it. There he is. Zeno began teaching in the colonnade in the Agora of Athens, known as the Stoia Poikile. In 301 BC, his disciples were initially called Zenoans, but they eventually became to be known as Stoics, and name previously applied to poets who congregated in the Stoa Poikile. So that's where you get the term Stoic, and they were more living a simple life, like it says. I'm not saying they were teaching the truth and doing up truth, but they had some zeal of living a simple life, like it says here. Sirach 39 and 25. For the good are good things created from the beginning, so evil things for the sinners. Now ultimately a lot of this judgment, the brimstone, the nukes, all that's created for E. But a lot of Jake's going to get caught up in it. And it was appointed from the beginning, don't get me wrong. But really that's meant to be a judgment for E. But a lot of Jake's are going to fall in it. Why? Because we're meant to be the prince of the power. Now, what does Israel mean? That's your homework. You've probably heard me say it, or us say it. But if you've not, even if you have, recall it. As the apostles have been saying, repetition is the mother of learning, or the mother of skill. Right, Sirach 39 and 26. The principal things for the whole use of man's life are water, fire. Now water so you can drink, wash. Fire so you can cook. Iron, dealing with something you can make a lot of tools out of. You can do a lot with iron. Okay, and salt, flour of wheat, honey, milk, and the blood of the grape, which goes back to wine, and oil and clothing. And if I search up wine, good life. Wine, there is Sirach 31 and 27. Wine is as good as life to a man, if it be drunk moderately. What life is then to a man that is without wine? For it was made to make men glad. There you have it there. So I went to that point to say that's the blood of the grape. It's also likened unto as good as life. So those are the principal things. Let's get back into it wherever it is. There is the blood of the grape and oil and clothing. Now all these are for good to the godly, so to the sinners they are turned into evil, as they will use all of them things. You can use iron for a lot, and they will use them things for something that is inconvenient, or something that is not meat, right? So, going into this, Acts 17 and 18 again. Then certain of the philosophers of the Epicureans and of the Stoics, and we're going to that word there.
Strong's G, 1946. Epikurios. Epikurios.
So there's a help, defender, Epicurean, a helper, defender, belonging to the sect of Epicurus. The philosopher, I thought it was Epicurus, but it's Epicurus. It says aid, help, succor, help. The word for help in Acts 26 is that word, or from the root word rather. Interesting. It says aid, succor, help, and then the root of that. Yeah, epi means before. If I click that, just get it there. Alright, upon, on, at, by, before. You can see it all there. Then it says that this word goes into that, help goes into a girl, damsel, maiden. I don't know if this is the intended etymological Greek usage, but it reminds me of helpmeet. If I can find that. Genesis 2:18. And Yahawah Alahayim said, "It is not good that the man should be alone. I will make an helpmeet for him." So I don't know if that links, but interesting nonetheless. So let's get back into it. Epicurean went into it. Stoic, let's look at this.
Strong's G 4770. Stoikos. Stoikos.
Right, Stoics.
Thayer's lexicon. Stoikos. Stoikos.
Not the exact same thing. Anyway, Stoics of the Portico pertain to the Stoic philosophy, the author of which, Zeno of Citium, taught at Athens. And then the root there is a stoa, which means porch. A portico, covered colonnade where people can stand or walk protected from the weather and the sun or the heat. Then you can read the next bit as well. I'm not going to the porch. Porch. Now you can pull it up and pause it. Then certain of the philosophers of the Epicureans and of the Stoics encountered him, and some said, "What will this babbler say?" Other some, "He seemeth to be a setter forth of strange gods, because he preacheth unto them Yahawashi and the resurrection," meaning what they had not heard it. They had not heard of this before. It says, "And they took him and brought him to Areopagus, saying, May we know what this new doctrine." Oh, Salakia. "And they took him and brought him unto Areopagus, saying, May we know what this new doctrine whereof thou speakest is." I just want to go into this word. Go into all of the words.
Strong's G 697. Areas pagas. Areas pagas.
Goes into Marshall Peak. Like you have, the so-called star sign, you have that Aries, which goes back to Mars. In the Aries is the Greek one. Mars is the Roman god of war, so-called god. If I'm not mistaken, that goes back to Marshall. Where'd you get the term Marshall? Mars. Oh, sorry, I didn't even see that. I promise, I did not even see that. So that affirms it. So that's cool. Right, and I believe this guy's mentioned twice. Let's see. I'm sure his name's there twice. In the scriptures twice. But anyway. It says, "For thou bringest certain strange things to our ears, we would know therefore what these things mean." It says verse 21. For all the Athenians and strangers which were there spent their time in nothing else, but either to tell or to hear something new. For all the Athenians and strangers which were there spent their time in nothing else, but either to tell or to hear some new thing. Now, it means the same thing, but let's just get it accurately. So if you imagine, I don't know if you're familiar with Speaker's Corner. In the UK, it's a place in London, Hyde Park, London, where everyone takes a doctrine. Yeah, they're either there to hear a new doctrine, a debate, or preach, tell a new doctrine, stuff like that. So it's sort of similar to that. I want to get into this word strangers as well.
Strong's G 3581. Xenos.
Xenos. Right, and that goes into, if you've ever heard of the word xenophobia. So it's xenos in Greek. Now in English it'd be xenos, like a xylophone. Or I can't think of any other word that starts with X, like that. But a sort of Z sound. So if you heard of the word xenophobia, it means a fear of those that are foreign, or a fear of someone not from your country. So it's going to be a foreigner, a stranger. So you have different words in the Hebrew. You have thawashab, you have gar, you have nakar, you have certain words for strangers in the Hebrew. Now, certain ones of them going to Israelite foreigners, and certain ones going to non-Israelite foreigners. But a stranger, all it can mean is someone that you're not used to, or someone from a different country, someone following a different doctrine, because they're strangers. Or really, they were from, they'd become estranged. Let me say it like that. So it says a foreigner, a stranger, alien from a person or a thing, without the knowledge of, without a sharing. So if someone's estranged from this doctrine, they'd become a stranger. It says new, unheard of, one who receives and entertains another hospitality, with whom he stays or lodges, a host. Like it says, when I get this in Exodus, Exodus 12 and 19. 7 days there shall be no leaven found in your houses, for whosoever eateth that which is leavened, even that soul shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel, whether he be a stranger or born in the land. Yeah. So this is talking about Israelites, whether he be a stranger or born in the land. So whether he be, and we'll get into that word just briefly for stranger there. So whether he be from another country or born in the same land as you. So this is the word gar, which I made reference to earlier. Sojourner, a temporary inhabitant, a newcomer lacking inherited rights, of foreigners in Israel through conceded rights. Now it's talking about Israelite foreigners in Israel, which really, in that context, which really they've not made clear. Now you've got the megalacha and all them things there. See, Abraham was referred, or Abraham at that time, was referred to as Gar. Right. Moses, as you can see there, called his son Gershom, Gar-Sham or Shawam, Gar-Sham, which I think it means a stranger name, because he has been a stranger in a strange land. And Moses had been a stranger. He was still an Israelite, but he was a stranger. Acts 17 and verse 21 again. For all the Athenians and strangers which were there spent their time in nothing else, but either to tell or to hear some new thing. It says, then Paul stood in the midst of Mars Hill, so going into the Ares Hill, and said, let's see what the word for Mars there is. Mars Hill. Oh, yeah, we've already touched it. I do remember seeing it now. The Marshall Peak. It says there. Yeah, so it's the same thing. Same word. It says, then Paul stood in the midst of Mars Hill and said, ye men of Athens, I perceive that in all things ye are too superstitious. Why? Because they were reverencing and worshipping heathens. Sorry, well, they probably were, but heathen gods. I really wanted the root word Ares there. Let's get it on the atoms. Ares. It says, Greek god of war in all its violence, brutality, confusion, and destruction, identified by Romans with their Mars, literally injurer, destroyer, from Eri, bane, ruin, perhaps cognate with Sanskrit irasira, ill will, or aya, kill. Getting back into this now. Verse 23, for as I passed by, I beheld your devotions. I found an altar with this inscription, to the unknown God, whom therefore ye ignorantly worship, him declare I unto you. Right, so they were trying to worship. They were trying to keep the true way. Yeah, but they didn't know it. To the unknown God. Which is what some of you Jacobite Israelites come across as. Yeah, when you call, alright, the Most High. You know, the Most High. You always talk about the Most... Well, what's his name, man? Declare it. So some of them say, oh, well, if you don't know his name, that's a problem. We're supposed to know the name. Publish the name. Therefore, I will publish. Let's get it verbatim. Deuteronomy 32 and 3. Because I'll publish the name of Yahawah, ascribe you greatness unto our power, right? Unto our God, unto our Most High. Now, he is the Most High. That's a title. What's his name, though? His name is Yahawah. And certain ones, I don't want to step on your toe, Israelites. So, they'll call upon Yahuwah or Ya'o, but just to make you feel comfortable, because they know we call upon the true name Yahawah, they will just say Yah. Yeah, they will just say Yah. Now you're meant to publish that name. You're meant to declare it. So what happened there? You can't be a step. I don't want to step on your toe, Israelite. If you follow Yahawashi, or if you at least claim to, you can't be a step. I don't want to step on your toe, Israelite. Yahawashi was stepping on the toes, so-called. It's a figure of speech of the Pharisees, the Sadducees, these wicked Jews over here, these people, their people. Now Pontius Pilate was getting. I'll get into that in another one, Lord willing. But he wasn't just compromising. Let me say it like that. Wasn't compromising. Now, did he agree with the adversary quickly? Did he use wisdom in them situations? Absolutely. But did he ever compromise? Did he ever speak against this truth? The truth? No, he didn't. All right. So Paul declared unto them, this is the God, right? This is the power that you've been trying to worship. I declare him to you, because that's the one true power, Yahawah. And we get to the Heavenly Father through his Son, Yahawashi. All right. Verse 24. Power that made the world and all things therein, seeing that he is Lord of heaven and earth, dwelleth not in temples made with hands, as saith the prophet. Verse 25. Neither is worshipped with men's hands, as though he need anything, seeing he giveth to all life and breath and all things. All right. Verse 26. And hath made of one blood all nations of men for to dwell on all the face of the earth, and hath determined the times before appointed and the bounds of their habitation. Right, so he's in control of everything. Yeah? That they should seek the Lord, if haply they might feel after him and find him, though he be not far from every one of us. Ultimately, yeah, if you're a Jake, you still, a lot of them have something in their spirit that doesn't let them eat raw meat. Now, a lot of Jakes don't really like pork. Jakes will turn their nose up at, the mows, for at least a lot of them. Going in into a woman when she's on her menstrual, that's outlawed. But Jake will still be against that. Yeah, just in his spirit, a casual Jake, a worldly Jake. There's certain things, not necessarily every one of them. It might not even be every single one of them. But there might be other certain things that are in this book that it's just in his spirit. I don't really want to deal with that, man. I don't know why. Just like the Yab. Right, a lot of Jake, they don't want to take it. They don't really know why. They just don't feel like it. Or it doesn't feel right to them. Yeah, because it's I'll just get this, I'll wrap it up. Romans 2:14. It says, for when the Gentiles which have not the law do by nature the things contained in the law, these having not the law are a law unto themselves, right, which shew the work of the law written in their hearts, their conscience also bearing witness, and their thoughts, the meanwhile accusing or else excusing one another, in the day when Yahawah shall judge the secrets of men by Yahawashi HaMashiach according to my gospel. Right, and Paul's gospel is the same as Yahawashi's gospel. Yahawashi's gospel is the same as the Heavenly Father Yahweh's gospel. Right, it's one. But it's our gospel because we all possess it. Yeah, it's a possessive pronoun. Well, no, it's a possessive word. So we're getting Acts 17, 27, 28, we'll call it that they should seek the Lord, if haply they might feel after him, and find us, though he be not far from every one of us. For in him we live and move and have our being, as certain also of our own poets have said, for we are also his offspring. So who's he talking to? Who are the offspring? Who are the sons of Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi? What did I say? What does Israel mean? When you look that up, you sort of dissect it, you get all into the word, you understand why. You understand why it's talking about we also are his offspring. But you understand why I'd ask you, what does Israel mean? Alright, so we'll call it there. I pray it was edifying. And like I said, I didn't really have a specific thing, but just a segment I wanted to go into. So we went into it. I pray it was edifying. Shalom. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well and labor in the word and doctrine. Kal halalyam la Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi, bahasham, rachak wadash.